Hello and welcome back to the webinar series 102. Namaskar, Adab, Sat Sri Akal, Assalamu Alaikum to all the participants in this special webinar number 102 in the series organized by PsyCoolG Connect and brand initiative by PsyCoolG Wellness Private Limited. An ISO accredited, MSME certified, Startup India recognized, and a registered organization under MCA Government of India. I am your host Dinesh Seni, founder and director of PsyCoolG Wellness Private Limited. By profession, I am a counseling psychologist with 3+ years of field experience. So before starting the webinar, I would like to inform you all that by attending this live event, you will be eligible to take away many things, including learning new concepts from experts and an e-certificate from PsyCoolG Wellness Private Limited. Yes, you will be getting an e-certificate from us after attending the full webinar. Now, I would like to ask you a simple question before starting this event. Have you ever played video games? I guess each and every one of us have played video games, either in our mobile or PC, laptop or PSP. In our TVs also now, smart TVs, there are many video games which are coming on. And have you ever wondered about the psychological theories connected with these games, used in these games? I guess it would be a big no for you all for this question. But today we will be unpacking, unboxing all these questions and we will be learning a lot of new concepts. These games are so much interesting and engaging that we are involved in them and we do not think of anything else at that time of playing. Rather, we only think of winning that particular match or game which we are playing at that particular moment. So today we will be learning about video games and psychological theories behind it. So to explain and to make us learn in a better way, we have someone special with us. Let us call our special guest on screen. Hello, ma'am. You are welcome in this particular webinar. So today,
Yes.
to explain and to make us learn in a better way, in a knowledgeable way, in getting involved in experts' advice, we have a very special guest, Dr. Jeny ma'am, as our resource person for the day. She is an educator. She is well-known psychologist, having experience of more than 20 long years in the field. Ma'am, I heartily welcome you in this free live event, webinar number 102, organized by PsyCoolG Wellness Private Limited, PsyCoolG Connect, to spread mental health awareness in society. So, without wasting any time, ma'am, I am handing over the mic to you, and the mic is all yours.
Thank you, Dinesh, Director of Psychology. I feel so happy and excited to be here once again on this platform. Before that, my hearty welcome to all the audience who are looking at me eagerly to know about video games and psychological theories behind it. And a warm welcome. This is and good afternoon again once again. And I express my immense gratitude towards the psychology organization for they have given me the opportunity to speak about this particular topic. And I think this is the eighth or tenth webinar on this platform that I am conducting. And I feel proud to be here, especially because this psychology organization, this young team is doing a fantastic job in the area of mental health. And their dedication to their cause must be really appreciated. Then the number of webinars they have conducted, just visit their website, they just recently updated. You can see how much amount of work and energy and time and effort they are investing into the cause of mental health, and their dedication towards ameliorating the mental health and well-being of Indian society must be really appreciated. So I repeat that I feel extremely happy and I feel proud and privileged to be here on this platform. Once
Thank
again,
you,
thank you
ma'am.
to the psychology team.
Thank you, ma'am, for such a warm Warm words from your side. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, yes, yes. Now, today's topic, regarding today's topic, this is a special topic, that is video games and psychological theories. This is the title of this webinar. And by attending this webinar, what you are going to get is you will got a new insight, or you will be provided a new angle, a new way of looking at the video games. Means that you will get some insight into the kind of influence or impact that video games are making on your psychological mechanism, or your psyche. And when you attend this video games, I'm not speaking about how to regulate or how to deal with the video addiction and all that. Not no, this is not the purpose of this webinar. This webinar is meant especially for caretakers of children, school going students, college going students, parents, teachers, and all that. That is, they have to help new generation to cultivate a good, healthy lifestyle as far as their digital life is concerned. And you know that in this difficult time, almost all children are sitting in their home and getting addicted to these video games. So what this webinar is going to do is to widen the perspective of adult world regarding the video games, how they must upgrade themselves, of they must learn something more to understand the kind of impact and influence these video games are making on the psychological mechanism or psychological dynamics of their children or their students and all that. Now, without wasting much time, let us enter into the presentation. Okay. Yes, here it is. This video games and psychological theories. How psychological theory perceive this area of video games, and what they have to say. When I say psychological theories, they are not a bunch of hypotheses. I'm referring to those theories which have enough research evidences. I mean, research evidence are in place in order to support the hypothesis involved in these theories and their tenets. So you see, video games are not at all bad, actually. They have positive benefits. I mean, they can improve your manual dexterity, means that your hand movements and your ability to do with your fingers will be improved, and your brain finger coordination will be improved by playing video games every day. And video games can increase your brain's gray matter. It is a proved fact. And gamers may have better social skills. And you know that every video games are designed in such a way that you have to you have to resolve some problem inherent in it. By doing so on a daily basis, if you play video games, you can see that your problem solving skill improves. And you see, video games can improve your vision. You will learn how to pay attention to the details of a particular situation, even the minute details, how to pay attention to it. And your ability to pay attention to different factors or elements involved in a situation will be improved. That is, video games can have mental health benefits. And video games is a fun way to get tricked into learning. Means in the area of education, and the research is happening there, is seriously thinking about applying gamification into the field of learning and teaching. Gamification means applying the principles of gaming into the area of teaching and learning. And nowadays scientists are seriously thinking about it. Why can't we make use of the benefits of video games in order to leverage the quality of teaching and learning? Video games can inspire to be more persistent, because without sitting for a long time in a place and paying enough focus and attention to the game, you cannot succeed in games. So you will learn that fundamentals of persistence by indulging in video games on a daily basis, at least for some time. And video games are producing better surgeons. This is a research outcome, that is, surgeons who play video games on a daily basis for a little for an adequate amount of time have the capacity to deal with the difficulties, or this manual dexterity needed for their profession will be improved by playing video games. That is, their focus, their ability to focus more, and their ability to pay attention to the details of the situation will be improved. It's a proven fact, and video games could help people overcome dyslexia, make you a better leader, and even increase your interest in history, make kids more active. Yes, if your kid is a little bit passive and not interested in things happening around him, you just give him some video games. By playing video games, I assure you that your kid, your kid's brain, in many regions of regions or areas inside the brain of your kid will be stimulated, and he will become active. By engaging in video games, he will become more and more alive day after day. Yes, video games are a proven means, or is a better means for making kids active, more and more active. And video games might slow down the aging process. You know that there are some video games especially designed for aged people, and if they play those games, what happens is that they can ward off this dementia or amnesia, or memory loss that is likely to happen due to the process, aging process, and that can be controlled actually if they play video games designed for aged people, at least for some time on a daily basis. And video games might help ease pain, make new social connections, and multiple sclerosis patients have been seen benefited by video games. And you see that it improves your decision making skills, means that in each game you can see that you have to make proper decisions, crucial decisions, in order to succeed, in order to be successful, come out successfully, or score points in games. So that by exercising those regions of your brain which are crucial for decision making, you will naturally improve your ability to become a good decision maker. And video games can reduce stress and help adjust autism and all that. But if you are a teacher, audience sitting in front of me, please listen. If there are parents and teachers and caretakers, you must understand certain things about the video games, the kind of influence these video games are making on your children, on your students. You must have clear understanding. That is what video games are actually doing to your child. What is happening there? You must have well understand, and why it is happening so. You must be capable of answering this question and articulating the answer. You must have enough clarity regarding. Then only you can give adequate guidance, because there are some negative impact that can incur on the life of your child due to the undisciplined way of indulging in video games, or overindulgence in video games can lead to failure in the academics. It's a common fact, I mean, popular truth, very much popular. And you see that while engage, if you are overindulging in video games, what actually happens is that there will be waxing and waning of emotions so rapidly. This is happening in many video games. Video games are designed, these video games are designed in such a way they tap into your emotional resources, which means that if you are spending too much time in video games, your emotional regulation capacities will be affected. And you see that those who are getting addicted to video games, what happens is that they have a general tendency to view things happening around them, or things happening in their life in from a negative framework. And these are the some lines, sentences I took from a research paper. And these in this research paper, they say that some of the Negative impact of video games are this, that's game addiction. And if you are playing video games whose content is mainly violence, you are likely to become an aggressive person, knowingly or unknowingly. You will have that tendency to take out these aggressive responses from you when you confront with the situations in real life. Okay. And the psychosocial life of the people who are addicted to video games will be impacted. And these are the previous side. In the previous side, what I told you is the behavioral symptoms of video game addiction. But there are some impacts which are not so visible. As parents, as teachers, as even students cannot have a direct perception, or I mean clear vision regarding the impacts actually these video games are making on the people. That is, there can happen dopamine addiction, reduction in motivation, and emotional suppression, repetitive stress injuries, poor mental health. And this is one incident that took place in Kerala 6 months back. And this boy committed suicide just because his mother was not able to pay the money required to take his game forward. That is Free Fire game. I had to mention that game. And you see that this boy 6 months back in Kerala, in my state, committed suicide. And you see it has the power, the video game has the power, a video game over intelligence in video game has the power to influence or impact the quality of your life and well-being actually. And you need not be well aware of it actually. Your emotional well-being will be impacted. And relationship issues can happen there, and social disconnection, exposure to toxic gaming environments will be there. For academic professional performance, as I mentioned earlier, all these are negative, some of the negative impacts. However, I am presenting this webinar in front of you in order to help you to know more about the kind of influence or impact that video games are making on the brain, emotion, and the entire life of your children or students or yourself for that matter. That is, your child to practice optimal use of video games. Video games are good, as I mentioned earlier. It helps you to grow emotionally, intellectually, and as a person. You can have even the leadership qualities in you. You will build up some leadership qualities if you play certain games. That means you must find out the optimal way of indulging in video games in order to help your children, in order to help your students. You must know more the kind of influence the video games are making. That is, you need to have well understanding how video games influence human brain, human emotions, human thoughts. And there are certain theories in psychology which are capable of explaining well about this kind of influence video games on your psychosocial system. And when I speak about psychological theories, you know that theories best explains why we spend. They answer if we read the psychological theories which are capable of explaining the issues around video games, you can see that you will be capable of answering so many questions. The first question, why we spend a lot of time playing video games? If I ask you this question, you will be having some answer, but that answer need not be complete. You will be saying that it is for enjoyment, it is very much exciting, it helps me in time pass, and it helps me to reduce stress. This will be your answer. But there are deep more. You can see that why we spend a lot of time playing video games. When psychological theories try to explain this question, what they are revealing is this: they are revealing the exact psychological dynamics or psychological forces which are in operation while you are playing video games. That is, you will be having some clarity what is happening in the minds of your students or your children, why they are spending too much time, you will be able to interpret or explain or answer this question in a more scientific way. Why some can regulate their appetite for games, but others can't? Your elder son can't regulate, may not be able to regulate his appetite or his desire to indulge in video games, but your younger son, he is capable of regulating, disciplining his digital life, habits involved in digital life. And fundamentally, what does an individual gain? We spend time and effort in certain activities. We like to spend so much time in certain activities in our life. Why? Fundamentally, we are gaining something from that action. That is the sole reason, actually. And you ask yourself, what is that you are gaining by spending too much time in video games? You will be having some answer, your own answer, some adjectives like joyfulness, or this happiness, this reduction of stress, and all that. But that is not a complete answer, as I mentioned earlier. Your answers are not complete. But going through the psychological theories, you will be equipped to have a clarity regarding the kind of influences and the what is happening these video games to your system, your psychological system, your physiological system, and your emotional system, and all that, whatever it may be. And I have carefully picked up these three theories, that is dopamine theory, flow theory, and basic psychological need theory, in order to explain the kind of impact that video games are making on the on the psychological makeup of human beings. And there are two reasons for selecting these three theories. The first reason is these theories are very much popular, and the second reason is the most important, that is these theories are supported by very I will say that uh, very powerful evidences, research based evidences. That means we can trust fully what these theories are putting forward regarding the kind of influence or impact that video games are making in our life. The first one is dopamine theory. You might be familiar with this word dopamine. Dopamine, this is this is actually a molecule, dopamine, and we address it as a neurotransmitter whenever we speak about brain sciences, or neurosciences, in the context of speaking about dopamine. Mm. And also sometimes we adjust this dopamine as feel good chemical, feel good hormone. We call it as it, because the presence of dopamine in certain regions of brain, which are known as that is a reward circuit. We call it as reward circuit in our brain. There is a circuit that is joining certain regions of brain. There is a reward system in our brain. If the production of dopamine and the density of the dopamine is very high in this reward system or reward circuit of brain while we are engaging in some activities, suppose we are likely to repeat the action. We have that craving to indulge in that action again and again. That is, dopamine is produced in our brain when we involve in certain actions in our life, certain situations in our life. For example, when we take a bite of delicious food, dopamine is produced in our reward circuit or reward system of our brain. And when we are indulging in sex, or we are after exercising, or we are having successful social interactions, or we bag some prize in our school competition, and whatever it may be, whenever we feel rewarded or satisfied or joy inside us, we must make sure of that this fact that some amount of dopamine is produced in our brain. And this neurotransmitter must be produced in order to experience a feeling of being rewarded. If this dopamine is not produced in your brain in adequate amount, you will not be able to experience the reward. This is what is happening in the case of patients suffering from depression. Whatever joyful experience will be happening around them, but they are not capable of experiencing that joy and being in and having some reward. They are not capable of taking that into their system and experience it, because this dopamine, this neurotransmitter and related, and there are so many neurotransmitters related to which affect our reward system. And these neurotransmitters are not, if not produced adequately, we will not be able to experience a reward. And what is the connection between the dopamine, neurotransmitter, dopamine, and the video games? In a study published in scientific journal Nature, you can refer this study, showed that playing video games releases feel-good hormone, dopamine. If you are playing video games, your brain produces dopamine. Then question will be, how much dopamine will be produced? And the studies say that the amount of dopamine produced while you are playing video games is very much equivalent to the amount of dopamine produced when you inject some stimulant drugs like amphetamine. Yes, drugs have that capability to produce dopamine in your reward system. And the same amount, the density of the dopamine is similar when you are produced when you are playing video games and when you are consuming drugs actually. So this pathway, that is from dopamine to addiction, if the dopamine is produced in our brain, will that lead to addiction? That is a question. Actually, when dopamine is produced in certain regions of brain, or density of the dopamine in your brain in a particular regions is very high, suppose, I repeat, the density of the dopamine produced in your brain in particular regions of your brain is very high, you are likely to repeat the particular action again and again. You will generate some sort of craving towards that action. And which are these particular regions of the brain? It is the human striatum. Look, these regions, human striatum. I mean, this region, this is called a striatum, and near that region, you can see as a small round. It is termed as nucleus accumbens. If you are indulging in an action, whatever it may be, whether it is video game, whether you are watching a film, whether you are having sex, whether you are eating food, whatever it may be, the density of the dopamine produced in these regions, that is striatum, nucleus accumbens, if the results are very high, suppose you generate a craving, there is higher likelihood for you to repeat that action in order to indulge in that action. You develop a craving very soon, you are likely to get addicted. And this study says that while people play video games, there is higher likelihood, or there is a chance for the production of dopamine in the particular areas that we mentioned, that is striatal regions and nucleus accumbens, regions called nucleus accumbens. So this is what is happening in your brain while you play video games. This is one kind of view, or one angle of view that you can have while interpreting this video games and its influence or impact on the individuals. Keep this point in mind, dopamine theory. And now we are passing on to the next theory, that is flow theory. Flow theory. Before understanding this theory, we must look into the person who brought this theory into the world of psychology. It is Mihai. This is his name. He's a Hungarian psychologist. According to him, there is a mental state called flow state. You might have experienced it in your life, this flow state. This is a definition of the flow state, the state in which people are involved in an activity in such a way that they forget about the world. They forget about the passage of the time. They become one with that activity. You can see some writers, they forget themselves at the peak of their creativity. Some writers, they become one with their character. You can see, and some dance, in the case of some dancers, they will be experiencing this flow state. They forget, they become one with that, or in other words, they dissolve in their dancing. their dancing process, they dissolve in it, and they forget about everything that is happening around them. This state is termed as flow state, and these are the characteristics of the flow state. You are in a flow state if you have focused attention and complete involvement, the merger of action, awareness, freedom from worry about failure. 100% of involvement will be. Components of flow experience are this: that disappearance of self-consciousness. You forget, you lose yourself into that action. The distortion of sense of time will be there, a reward in the experience. And all these things, just think about the video games. Are these video games are capable of giving you a flow state of mind? This is a question. And you see that when you are in a flow state, you will get absorbed in the activity. You lose there your sense of time and being completely involved in activity, and etc. etc. And of yes, video games are providing this experience called flow state. So the question is that, is there any possibility for getting addicted to the incidents or events or activities which are capable of providing you or leading you into a flow state? Is there possibility? The answer is yes, actually. And state of flow. So this is a proof for this claim that video games are providing the gamer a flow state of mind. That is, this is one of the studies I have picked up, one of the many studies that flow experience. It is written by this Subhath is a researcher. If you search the internet, you can read this paper, Flow Experience in Computer Gameplay among Thai Universities. It is a study that is, you are entering into a state of flow while playing the video games. This is another study towards understanding flow in video games, and this is one more study. These are the only one or two or studies among the hundreds of studies produced regarding the connection between the flow state and video games. Okay. And what about the human mind? Do we like the flow state? And or we have that craving or desire to indulge in the activities which provide us or which lead us to a flow state of mind? The answer is yes. Because whenever you enter into a flow state, you feel a certain sort of emotional well-being. That is, you are capable of regulating your emotions in a better manner, and you experience greater enjoyment and fulfillment when you are in a flow state. You might have entered into this state in certain activities, not only in video games or dance or writing. Not only that, there are certain activities or actions around you that you like most. Those actions provide you with this mental state, and you like it. That is, there is a fundamental need in all of us to enter into flow state. That is, lose ourselves in something outside us. That is a right kind of saying. That is, we have that desire to lose ourselves in something that is outside us, whether it be writing, whether it be dancing, whether it be video games, whatever it be, whether it be drugs. Consumption of drugs also provides you a flow state, because we experience greater happiness and a sense of self-actualization when we enter into this state of mind. And you see that it is a positive mental state. Actually, it can help increase engagement and motivation. So increased engagement will be there when you are in a state of flow, whether it is dancing, whether it is whether you are performing on stage. If you are in a state of flow, there will be increased level of engagement. This increased level of engagement naturally improves your performance. You can perform well when you are in a flow state. And learning a particular skill or development of a person in learning certain skill will be increased if he or she is capable of experiencing this state of flow while in the different phases of learning, and more creativity will be a natural consequence of this flow state, actually. So we have that we are gravitated towards the activities and actions in which we can experience flow state. But at the same time, this Mithai is giving you the actual psychological framework within which this flow state can be experienced. That is, certain conditions are there, certain factors must come together and work together in order to produce this state of flow inside the mind of a human being. And he says that these factors should be there. He has given actually he has given more than this, but I have picked up the most important ones. That is, only if these factors or these elements are present in a particular activity or in the environment or in the context in which the activity or action is happening, you can experience the thing called flow. That is, the activity or action should be intrinsically rewarding. That is, you just by doing the action or performing the action, you feel rewarded. That is, you are intrinsically wanted to you wanted to there is no need of anybody to push you into the action. You are intrinsically attracted to that action because it is just entering into the action itself is rewarding. And the other one, it's highly important that clear goals must be there. You must be clear regarding the goals of a certain activity, certain action. Then only you can experience this state of flow and a sense of progress. When you walk towards this goal, when you are moving forward to this goal, you must have that feeling that I am progressing, I am moving ahead. Then only you can enter into a state of flow. And there should be a match of challenge and skill. You can say that you take any action, whether it is writing, whether it is dancing, whether it is teaching, whether it is taking a webinar like me, some sort of challenge is involved in the activity. And this set of challenges must be optimal, means that it must match with the skill set or ability I already have. If the challenges involved in an action or activity is greater than whatever skill or capability I have, I will not allow to involve in that action or in that activity. I will be moving away from the activity. So matching of challenge and skill should be there, and clear and immediate feedback. Each and every step of the action, we must have some clear and immediate feedback, whether we are moving in right direction, whether there is any need to change our track. Regarding all these things, we must have immediate feedback. Then only we can experience a state of flow. And he says that if these four things are in place, intense focus on the present will be a natural consequence. That is, you will become so focused on the activity that you become one with that activity. And just think about the video games in this context, whether the video games are providing these 5 elements. It is intrinsically rewarding, clear goals are there, match of challenge and skill is there, and clear and immediate feedback is there, and intense focus will be the consequence of it. And I would like to elaborate on some points that we discussed earlier of the 5 elements that we discussed. The first is about clarity of goals. Video games provide this. When you sit to play a game, you are sure about the goal. No conflict or no confusion about what you have to do. In each step, you are clear what you have to do, how to perform it. And you have no fear of failure, actually. Actually, this loss of clarity of goals happens when you have when you have that fear of failure, actually, And in video games, when you sit for playing video games, do anybody have any fear of failure? No, there is nobody to ask you why you have failed. No. And you see that in each step of the game, You are getting clear and immediate feedback. It is an exciting experience. In the learning context now, in the ordinary learning context or ordinary life situations, you cannot have this clear and immediate feedback. So clear, whenever you have clear and immediate, it enhances the focus, your ability to focus on the activity. If this is not present in an activity, suppose whatever it may be, in a particular activity you are not getting clear and immediate feedback, you will not allow to indulge in that activity. But in the case of video games, they are designed in such a way that you get immediate and clear feedback at each step of the game. And as I mentioned, challenge and skill. The challenges involved in the video games are designed in such a all video games are designed in such a way that the challenges involved in the skill will always match with the skill set of involved in the game. Sorry, challenges involved in the game will always match with, always will balance with whatever skill you have. You will be capable of overcoming or resolving challenges. Then what happens? It improves your self-esteem or self-worth. You feel that you are competent. Then you are attracted more and more towards the game. These are the things happening. What I wanted to emphasize is that if we as parents or as teachers, if we are capable of creating situations in our environment, capable if we are capable of building up situations or in our environment, in home environment and a school environment, such that all these elements are present, students will naturally focus on the things that matters most. For example, in learning environment, if you are capable of saturating your learning environment and teaching environment with these elements or these factors, I promise that students will experience flow while you are teaching or while you are asking them to listen to the class and engage in the classroom activities. They will be in a state of flow. Sure. And you see that there is neuroscience of flow. We can connect this flow experience with the findings in neuroscience. They say that whenever you are in a state of flow, there is a surge of dopamine in certain regions of your brain that you want to have this experience more and more. This is one way of viewing the video. What happens when you play video games? This is one more way, that is flow theory explains well. You must read the studies I mentioned before in order to understand in an in-depth manner about the video games. And you see, the most important theory I would like to, and I like to explain our appetite for video games, that our overindulgence in video games in terms of this theory, because so many studies have come out using which have proven the claims of this theory as and they have established the proponents of this self-determination theory. They have established these facts that we are indulging in video games in order to satisfy our basic psychological needs. Video games provide satisfaction of basic psychological needs. I will show you the studies. And regarding the basic psychological needs, these we have so many psychological needs, but all needs can be categorized into three. That is need for autonomy and need for competence and need for related. These are not a statement. It is a proven fact. If you search internet and you just type the words that is basic psychological needs, you can have evidences for this claim that these are your basic psychological needs. There is no time to speak about this huge, wide theory in a detailed manner. Anyway, these are the basic psychological need which drives our all actions from dawn to dusk, which we are driven by these psychological needs. In other words, we always seek for the satisfaction of these three psychological needs: need for autonomy, need for competence, and need for latency. If these needs are satisfied properly, we can enjoy mental health and well-being in our life. Otherwise, there will be psychological imbalance. That is what I want to say is this: that just as the physiological needs, if physiological needs of hunger, thirst, sex are not satisfied, we will go out of balance. Is that true? The same will happen if you are not capable of, or if your environment is not conducive for the satisfaction of these three needs: need for autonomy, competence, and related. You in your life, you are always searching for the satisfaction of these three needs, actually. Okay. Yes, this is the need for autonomy. It is a need to experience self direction. It is a fundamental need, a strong need to control my own life. I wanted to be the initiator, or I wanted to be the sole author of my life. I want to have control over the things happening around us. I don't want it to be pressurized or guided, or even pushed by somebody else while I am involving in an activity, or while I am taking my life forward, actually. And even in a small child, you can see the presence of this psychological need for autonomy. You closely observe, even a child wanted to be autonomous, wants to lead a life of autonomy, in which this need is satisfied. And according to this theory, that is basic psychological needs, you can have satisfaction of this need, that is need for autonomy, when these three factors are present in your environment, or in the context, or in the activity or action that you are engaged in. That is first is that you must be capable of experiencing a sense of control over the components of that activities or actions or environment altogether. And you must be capable of experiencing a volition, that is in an action, in an activity. If you are entering on your own, that is nobody has pressurized you into that action, you willingly enter into that action, means you are experiencing volition, you are exercising volition while engaging in that activity. And the third one, you will be free to exercise your own choices while engaged in that particular activity. Then that activity, whatever it may be, that activity will be a super source for satisfying your psychological need for autonomy. And if these three elements are present in a particular activity, you will have some craving, or you will have super desire, intense desire to engage in that activity. Just to think about video games, whether video games are providing these three conditions: sense of control, sense of volition. Yes, nobody push you or compel you in order to play a game. You volition, with your willingness, your own willingness, you enter into that action. And there is perceived choice, there is perceived choice at each and every step of the way, actually. In other words, while playing video games, you are experiencing the satisfaction of psychological need, autonomy. At the same time, this is a second psychological need, that is sense of competence, need for competence. That is, as a human beings, everybody on the surface of this planet, they have this fundamental need, that is prove to the world, prove to ourselves that I can do something. That is, I'm a worthful. I'm not worthless. I'm competent in certain areas of my life. I can do this and this. That is, we want to prove our self worth at each moment, actually. A psychological need to be effective. In other words, this is a psychological need. It is a serious need. If it is not satisfied, the consequence is frustration, and the individual will never experience well-being and happiness if this need is not satisfied. And four conditions must be in place. Four conditions must be satisfied, must be there. which must be present in an environment or in an action in order for you to feel competent. A particular action, the first one is optimal challenges should be there. You see that you feel that you are competent only when you overcome some challenges, or only when you resolve some challenges you feel competent. Is it so? Is it that true? Then, in order for a particular activity to satisfy your psychological need for competence, that activity must have some inherent challenges, and that challenges must be optimal. In other words, it must match with your skill set, your ability. So optimal challenge must be there. And structure means that it must be predictable, you must be clear, you must have some clarity regarding what you must do in that activity. That is what is meant by structure. And feedback that we already explained about it, this concept called feedback. You must be capable of experiencing immediate and constant feedback about your action. Otherwise you will never feel competent. You must get some feedback. And failure tolerance should be there. That is, even if you are if you fail, there should not be anybody to criticize you badly, criticize your self-esteem, or your ability, question your ability. That is, you feel free to expand, you feel a sense of competence. And just check whether the video games are providing these conditions. And by indulging in video games you are experiencing the satisfaction of psychological need called competence. And the third one, it is relatedness. In the relatedness, what is happening? We all human beings have that basic tendency, basic urge to build up meaningful, long lasting relationship with other fellow human beings. That is why we are adjusted as social animal. We cannot live without connecting to others, and we wanted to build up in-depth emotional attachment, emotional social bonding. We want to create it. This is already programmed into our system, and we have to satisfy this urge. This is a psychological need, and it must be satisfied properly. And you see, in most of the video games, they are defined in such a way that it can be played by so many members. Even the person sitting in some other country called, say, England, and the person sitting in India can play a video game. That is a state of the situation in today's world, actually. Anyway, these elements should be there in order for you to satisfy the psychological need for relatedness. That is, involved interaction with others should be there, and perception of social bond should be there, and communal exchange should happen. Benefits of relatedness, need satisfaction will happen. And I am asking, is it possible with the video games? Yes. No. And when you are experiencing autonomy while playing video games, what happens is that your frame of mind, your way of thinking will be like this: don't tell me what to do except when I need help. When you are experiencing related, we are all friends here, you have that fellow feeling while you are engaged in the act of video games. And competence, we all want it to be badass. This is what video games are. And regarding these psychological needs, there is a pertinent information regarding the psychological needs. That is, if these needs are not properly satisfied, you can't live, actually. Just as you can't thrive without satisfying your physiological needs, same is the case with the psychological needs. If you want to lead a normal life, a life with a proper mental health and well-being, you must satisfy your basic psychological needs. Yes, they will not be pronouncing it that I need it, but your actions, emotions, and your thoughts, your cognitions, everything is driven by, regulated by, stimulated by, maintained by this psychological needs: need for autonomy, need for competence, and need for relatedness. And what about this need? We must get on a daily basis. We must have the satisfaction of this basic psychological need. We must have daily dose of autonomy. We must have daily dose of competence, daily dose of relatedness, because they are psychological nutriments. Just as we consume vitamins and this what do you say, nutrients for our physiological health, we must consume the daily dose of our autonomy competence in order to lead a life of life in which we can enjoy mental health and well-being. And the question is whether the psychological needs can be satisfied by entering into video games. Yes, video games can satisfy your psychological needs. They are designed in such a way. Good games satisfy our basic psychological needs. So there are so many studies, but the thing is, you will fail to learn how to satisfy your psychological needs by from real world. If you train yourself or you program yourself in such a way that you satisfy your psychological needs with the help of video games, means that you will fail to pick up the lessons how to satisfy your psychological needs by engaging with your environment. From the environment, from the real life situations, how to satisfy psychologically, you will fail to forget to pick up the lessons related to that. That is, satisfaction and frustration of needs in real world is more important to become an authentic personality. If you want to be mentally healthy and strong and realistic in life, you must know how to satisfy the need for competence, need for autonomy, need for relatedness from real life situations. This is the danger involved in satisfying your psychological needs with the help of video games, actually. So beware of it. And these are one or two studies that I am putting in front of you to go through. If you are interested, you can check for this study, the motivational pull of video games, a self-determination theory approach. In this study, the authors say that how basic psychological needs are propelling us to depend on video games in order to satisfy our basic psychological needs. They are giving evidences for it, and a motivational model of video game engagement, and how these all studies are very beautifully written, and you must go through it, especially if parents are there, if teachers are there. You must go through these literature in order to understand what is happening between a person who is addicted or who is exhibiting overindulgence in video games. If you wanted to help them, if you wanted to guide them in a proper manner, in a realistic manner, you must be capable of understanding the influence and impact of video games in a scientific manner. That is, with the help of the theory. I have presented only three theories. There are host of a bunch of theories in psychology. If you are really interested, please go through it. It will help you a lot. Thank you so much. If there are any questions, please come forward.
Thank you, ma'am, for a wonderful webinar. And there are few questions which are there in the chat box. Starting with this by Purushottam Singh, sir. Ma'am, my son is in class 8. He is bit hyperactive and only time he's still and still when he is busy. Is the sir is asking about that whenever the child is playing video game at that time only that particular.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Okay. Something is going. Anyway, shall I start answering the question regarding the video games and hyperactivity? Video games. Okay, he is busy in video games. Otherwise, he'll keep jumping. Is video game good for him? Please guide. No, video game is cannot be taken as a solution for the hyperactivity or whatever disturbances that your child is having. Video game cannot be taken as a solution, but it can be used as a supportive mechanism in order to regulate his hyperactivity. But you must be capable, you must be careful regarding the content and the nature, the way in which it is designed. For example, if your child is hyperactive, you cannot give him the video games which are likely to make some very much emotional variations, and which is likely to impart very high excited states and all that. You must be very careful regarding the choice of video games. Yes, I just answered the question. I'm trying to answer the question.
No issues, ma'am. Actually, electricity cut is there in our city
Yes, yes,
for
yes.
a long time, and our inverters were off. As of now. So that's
Regarding
why.
yes, yes. Regarding the question, what I want to say is that video games cannot be used as a means to make your student to sit still. Never use it as a means for make your children or students to sit still. There are so many other ways you can introduce good habits like meditation habits or
Indoor
yoga like
games,
that.
maybe games which
Yes,
are not included in smartphones or video games,
yes,
basically.
yes, yes,
You
yes.
can involve
Outdoor
in
games like that.
carom, chess, the games
Chess,
like
yes, very
that.
good, very good.
Yeah.
Never use video games, especially when your child is having this hyperactivity symptoms. Never use it. And
Nowadays,
only the
ma'am, we have seen people that whenever the parents, basically, especially the parents who are like the new parents, they
uh,
want to get rid from the child. Like child is crying a lot, the child is
yes,
not
yes,
listening
yes,
to them. So what they have taken a source, like they will give the mobile phone to them and they will
yes,
let
yes,
the child to play for long hours, and till then the parent will start working on their particular work which they
yes,
are
yes, yes, yes,
doing.
yes. By
So to
doing
get
so, they are
rid of the children, they started to give mobile phones nowadays.
yes, yes, it is a crime actually. Parents are committing, knowingly or unknowingly, they are causing harm to the entire life of their children. And,
Yes,
and I would like to
exactly.
address this habit of parents as a crime, actually. Uh,
Yes, ma'am. There is one more question we would like to take. Uh, yeah, it is here
Aggressive
on the
feelings
screen.
or behavior that occurs post daily exposure to it. Yes, there are so many
Yes.
studies have come out that is reiterating the connection between the video games and the violence in the people or students or children who regularly get exposure to this video games in which the most content is related to violence, because they, by indulging in video games which have this violent content, what happens is that they pick up, unknowingly they pick up some response mechanisms or way of responding to the situations aggressively in a violent manner. And whenever many frustrations happen around them in their real life, they repeat those response patterns.
Mhm.
They are not aware of it. They think they use that response pattern while they are doing the game, while they are going through the game, and the
Yes,
same
exactly.
response they repeat in their life. So there is
Not
higher.
only not only children's, ma'am, I'm really sorry to interrupt. It was
Yes,
like
yes, sure, you're
the talk
always
which
ready.
is was connected. I have seen not only in children but in the adults too, when they are playing some aggressive games. There are
Yes,
car games, the car fight games, like the asphalt game is there in mobile, which involves car racing. So I have seen young children, like young adults, basically young adults, who play that particular game in their PlayStation or somewhere in TVs also nowadays. Nowadays, the games are available. So they do involve in that, and while driving a real car, they get that feeling of race,
yes, yes,
and
yes,
they simulate that same feeling
yes,
while
yes,
playing game. So they will be
yes,
doing like that, like that, like that. And one incident was there. One of my friend who used to play a lot of games. So I asked him, why you are are you in hurry to reach somewhere? So he said, no, I'm not in hurry, but I'm excited to play as drive as I'm playing. So he
Yes,
connected the same thought, he connected the same feeling which he
uh,
got while playing and while driving. So
that
that
is the thing. Yes, we pick up some lessons unknowingly. We teach our brain to
unknowingly,
react and
yeah,
respond in certain manner while we play video games, and we try to experiment, need not be consciously, try to experiment or same response patterns and things, habits, we way of responding, our emotions, all these we try in real world also. We carry that experience into the real world,
carry that.
virtual experience. That is what happening. So it must be monitored when
Must be
this is
monitored.
happening, monitored properly, and yeah, proper guidance must be given when it is happening among growing children. And in the case of
Exactly.
adults, they have to they have to come into better awareness regarding the impact that these video games are making on their life. They have to.
Last question we will be taking from Tripti Verma. Ma'am, is there any particular reason that due to video games, students start ignoring their families and studies? And it doesn't get better with time, but keeps on increasing in a bad way only.
Yes, it is quite natural that when a child or a student get attracted to video games, that is he or she is overindulging in video games, he start ignoring the more serious things in his life, that is studies, family, spending time with the families. All these things takes a secondary position in his life. And if parents think that okay, when the time comes he will come into to the realization what is this is wrong, he will automatically learn that he will automatically come to the awareness that what he is doing is not true, and he must limit. That is not, that kind of thing is not likely to happen. Automatic learning or spontaneous learning is not possible in the case of video games, because entering into video games and playing the video games leads to a state called addiction. That is the abnormal level of craving is developed. And when a student or a child reaches that level, never dream that he will come to a realization. One day he will come to know that this is all wrong, and I have to change my habits. No, no. Adequate guidance is needed. That is why in the modern century, in 21st century, the parents are advised to practice the principles of digital parenting. Means that you must add digital dimension your parenting practices. Digital dimensions means in your parenting practices you must be capable of giving adequate guidance, and you must be capable of exhibiting real kind of monitoring in your home environment regarding the digital choices of your children. Yes, and you must pick up some lessons how to this implement this digital parenting inside your home environment.
And
Otherwise you will be exercising the permissive kind of parenting. There are three kinds of parenting: authoritative, authoritarian, and
yeah,
permissive
exactly.
parenting. In the case when it
Exactly.
comes to the digital life of the students, especially in the case of adolescent students, most of the parents resort to this permissive kind of parenting, permissive dimension of the parenting. That is, they think that it will, this digital problems will take its own course and it will be resolved on its own.
It
No,
will be
we
resolved
have
on
to
its own.
give adequate direction and guidance. If we are not capable of giving the direction and guidance, we must seek help. So many resources
Exactly.
are available. That is it.
Exactly.
Oh, yes.
Okay, ma'am. Last question for the webinar. How to explain child who is rigid and stubborn to reduce playing video games? This is
How to
the, I think this is the issue which every family is facing who have children from second class to 10th class. I think this is the age where the student is too much stubborn to play the video games. Maybe it is any game. I don't want to name any of the game, but there are games which are very addictive nowadays, and they get very stubborn to play.
You parents must understand that you wake up in the morning, just one day you wake up in the morning and you start explaining to the child that this is not too much video games, or that's not likely to
That's
make
not
any
likely.
impact or influence. Actually,
Exactly.
the moment your child start playing video games or spending too much time in internet, you must be capable of involving in that matter. That is, it is a your parenting activities or parental behaviors that you are parenting in general that you are conducting in your home environment must be capable of inculcating a discipline from the beginning itself. From the beginning itself, you must be capable of discussing with your child the perils involved and how much if I ask a parent how much screen time a child can have, you must have some clarity regarding it, scientific facts, regarding
Exactly.
scientific facts, how much time. And to that facts, you must be capable of guiding your child. You, both of you, both the parent and the child must be capable of creating a disciplinary framework inside the home environment. What you will be allowed to do, what you will not be allowed. You will be allowed to play this much amount of time, and will not be allowed more than that. And you must be capable of explaining why you are not allowing. That's a great point. And
Why
constant
you are not?
negotiation.
That is
Yes,
must. That is must.
and negotiations and discussions and autonomy supportive parenting practices. You must do support is a desire to be autonomous in this digital options also. And this is it's an ongoing process, disciplining the child to have better choices when it comes to digital life, digital life. It is an ongoing process. All on a sudden, you cannot start advising the student, your child, and you don't dream that you can change yourself. From the beginning itself must start, and you are not too late actually. And you, if you once you start, you realistically step into the act of digital parenting. If you are consistent, you can reap result definitely, even if you are late. But you must be a constant learner in the activity, because this technology and digital things is an add-on to us parents. It is an add-on. We came to this world only now. You are not, but your children are born into it. They may
Born
be
into it.
they may be
Exactly.
smarter and cleverer than you. So you must be a when you step into a thing called digital parenting, what happens is that you must be ready to become a student, to learn about the intricacies of
Exactly.
this digital
Exactly.
life actually. Yes, that's the answer.
Exactly.
Anyway, you are, the
Exactly.
question to the questioner, I would like to say that you are not late, but start giving him lessons, good lessons regarding the healthy digital habits, and be consistent. Consistent means that on a daily basis you must be capable of implementing some or giving some advice, and it will be constant. You must be a friend and a co-traveler with your child in this digital life. Okay. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. And in our clinic, when most of the parents do come with this kind of problem, we do give them a solution. Like if the child is too small, like it is from like 4 to 6 or 4 to 8 age group. So we do tell the parent that do not allow the child to
Yes.
use the mobile phone when the child is in the relaxed position. So if you are giving the phone to the child, make sure that the child is sitting while using the phone.
Yes.
It should
Yes.
not be
Yes.
comfortable, because whenever we are getting comfortable with any kind of thing, we make sure that we are using it for a long time. And when we are not comfortable, we use it for short time because we
Ah,
want our
yes.
comfortability
Good technique.
to.
That's
So
good.
this kind of technique we
Okay.
do recommend to parents,
Yes.
and this technique really works actually.
Yes, we
I,
parents might need techniques like this actually in order to deal with with their children actually. So
yeah,
external help might need in the case of parents, in most of the how they are, whether they are educated or not, it's not whether they are
yes,
high, having high socio-economic standard, whatever it may be, external help will be needed. Will be needed, and you must be capable of accommodating this fact, or accepting this fact into your parenting life actually, and be a good learner about these such things, and attend the webinars, and seek professional help if needed.
that is must, ma'am. That is really must. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for such a wonderful webinar. Such a wonderful webinar. This was really, really interesting. In real terms, it was interesting, ma'am. I also learned so many facts, and I cleared so many facts and doubts which were like there with me before the webinar. After the webinar, everything is cleared out. I learned a lot of theories and a lot of facts too. Thank you for giving your precious time for engaging with us in this webinar. Your presence always leave a great impact always, ma'am. This is really
Yes.
the thing which I would like to say. Your every time when you are present with us in the webinar, giving the webinar, your presence really give behind a great impact to all the participants, to all the learners who are there in the webinar and who will be watching the webinar after the live session. They also learn a lot. We will be soon getting in touch, ma'am, for more webinars to spread mental
Sure.
health awareness and knowledge in society. And
Yes.
as tomorrow is Sunday and tomorrow is Teachers' Day, I wish you happy, happy, happy Teachers' Day,
Thank
ma'am.
you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
From me, from my side, and from whole PsyCoolG family, I wish you very happy Teachers' Day.
Thank
And
you. Thank you.
I thank you again for this enlightening session which you gave, and it was really informative and really interesting, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for being there in this webinar number 102. So we have crossed 100 webinars and we have jumped on to 102 webinar. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, so thank you everyone for being there in this event, in this webinar. I would like you all to know that we do have these kind of special events, and if you are not in our WhatsApp group, make sure that you join our WhatsApp group. Just visit our website instapsychology.com and find your WhatsApp group link there, because for every individual we have a special group link for master degree, for other professional. So we have all the separate groups for you all, and I will make sure that there is no spamming in the group. So we do not allow any spammers in the group to join. So you can join the group if you are a learner, if you are a student, if you are a professional, you can join the group and you can learn a lot of new things. You can get updates about another psychology event which will be having, and almost all the free events and the paid events too we will be having in future. So thank you everyone. Thank you all the participants who attended this live event. You can visit the link mentioned in the description for the certification link, and the link will be opened till 5:30. So till 5:30 p.m. you can fill the link up, and you will be getting the certification after Monday. Like on Monday, after Sunday, you will be getting the certificate on your email ID. So on Monday, you will be receiving your certificates on your registered email ID, which you have mentioned in the certification form, which you will be filling up from the chat box link or the description link. I hope I'm clear with my words. We will be meeting again in another special live event and another special live webinar with a different expert and different resource person. Till then, stay tuned, because psychology is now PsyCoolG. Psychology is now PsyCoolG. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram, and do not forget to subscribe our channel and hit the bell icon for more and regular updates. Good evening. Take care of yourself and your family. Goodbye, Jairam ji ki. Alvida, Khuda Hafiz. Thank you, everyone.
मैं डॉक्टर कुमकुम वेद सेन साइकोलॉजी लिमिटेड के डायरेक्टर आदरणीय श्री दिनेश साहनी सर को अपना संदेश दे रही हूँ। उन्होंने अपने नाम की सार्थकता को कायम की है। दिनेश का अर्थ है सूरज की रोशनी, और अपने वेबिनार के माध्यम से इन्होंने जन जागरण का जो कार्यक्रम किया है वो बड़ा ही सराहनीय है। 2 शब्दों से मैं उनको यह संदेश दे रही हूँ। बूंद बूंद घटक भरे, वेबिनार 100 से 1000 बने। दुआ आशीर्वाद जागरण चलता रहे। धन्यवाद।
I wholeheartedly appreciate the initiative being taken up by PsyCoolG to start the webinar series, especially during the lockdown. Indeed, an enriching experience not only for the audience, but was also for me as a resource person who was always hesitant to embrace technology. The Zoom sessions, later on StreamYard, checking the audio, the video, preparing and sending the PowerPoint presentations via WhatsApp, sharing screen, having the dry run, placing information in social media platform, understanding the copyright issues, need to have a backup data. The learning was actually endless. In fact, lockdown for me became a time to learn. All our dreams can come true if we have the courage to follow them. And PsyCoolG has proven that. Today, it has grown immensely, undoubtedly under the able guidance of the director and the relentless hard work and dedication of the team. And 100th webinar is a testimony to the same. Definitely a milestone attained. I am reminded of the lines of Harivansh Rai Bachchan ji. तू ना थकेगा कभी, तू ना थमेगा कभी, तू ना मुड़ेगा कभी, कर शपथ, कर शपथ, कर शपथ, अग्निपथ, अग्निपथ, अग्निपथ. So, celebrate what you have accomplished, but raise the bar a little higher each time you succeed. With this, I extend my cordial blessings and best wishes to PsyCoolG so that it can strive harder to meet the forthcoming challenges by continuously upscaling their resources and by contributing immensely in the noble task of creating a mentally healthy society.
On behalf of Delhi Laughter Club, myself, Neelam Vadera, as Vice President, Delhi Laughter Club, take this opportunity to congratulate PsyCoolG on completion of 100th webinar in mental health series. Congratulations for adding another dimension in your achievements. Nobody needs to have a second look at you, Mr. Dinesh Sani, to realize that how much hard work you all are putting for mental health awareness. Delhi Laughter Club feels proud to be associated with PsyCoolG, and we assure you always our wholehearted support for this noble cause. Anyways, once again, congratulate and best of luck for more and more achievements in future also. Thank you.
I'm Dr. Jeny Rapheal. I'm from Kerala, and I have been working with the PsyCoolG organization for the past 6 or 7 months, I think. And you must know that PsyCoolG is doing a wonderful job in the scenario of mental health of our country, because they are conducting so many webinars and mental health awareness programs, and their enthusiasm and dedication to their cause must be appreciated. And I feel proud to be a part of their venture. This young team, I love them, and I want to work with them for this for their mission and for the good cause they have dedicated themselves to. Thank you.
Congratulations to Director Jeny Rapheal and founder of PsyCoolG Private Limited and the team for completing 100 live webinars in the series of mental health awareness. I'm extremely glad to know that 1 lakh students, mental health professionals, teachers and parents have benefited from this webinar. It is a great effort put in by PsyCoolG team to reach out to the world in the trying pandemic times. God shower His choicest blessings on PsyCoolG Director Jeny Rapheal and his team for carrying on the great and sincere dedication to humanity in proclaiming good mental health and helping people to transform their personal lives. May good Lord grant you all the strength, encouragement and dedication needed to carry on to heal the minds of the world, in turn healing the psychological health, thereby bringing about psychological well-being of humanity. I'm very happy and proud of this team, and I wish you all the best and the forthcoming years. Thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Greetings to everyone. I'm Dr. Beena, counseling psychologist. It's really nice to get connected through this video and congratulate PsyCoolG and team for its successful accomplishment. I'm really happy that Mr. Dinesh and his team members are exemplarily coming out with webinars and many other initiatives. And I wholeheartedly thank them for including us and the other professionals in their success journey. I wish many more colleagues to join the team and as well the grace of Almighty to shower them abundant growth henceforth. Mr. Dinesh and team, you've got good future and you are really going to have a better arena in the upcoming scenario. Hope the situations get normalized soon and I wish everyone a great success. Thank you and God bless.
Namaskar. I am Charushila Vaze, Principal, Army Pre-Primary School. मैं बहुत गर्व के साथ कहती हूँ कि I am a member of PsyCoolG. Thank you Dinesh Saini sir and Garima, giving us a platform which actually works for mental health and so many free webinars. Yes, I have taken one webinar on slow learners. I work on slow learners and I really appreciate the work which has been done by Mr. Dinesh Saini. Thank you sir once again and God bless you.
नमस्कार, मैं डॉक्टर कल्पना रस्तोगी PsyCoolG की 100 वेबिनार पूरे होने के स्वर्णिम अवसर पर इन्हें हार्दिक बधाई देना चाहती हूँ। इनकी पूरी टीम बहुत कर्मठ है, इनका कार्य बहुत प्रशंसनीय रहा है और यह मैं इसलिए कह सकती हूँ क्योंकि इनकी 74th वेबिनार जो कि नेशनल एजुकेशन डे पर इन्होंने आयोजित की थी, मैं उसका एक भाग रही हूँ और मैं कामना करती हूँ कि ये टीम निरंतर उन्नति के शिखर पर चढ़ती जाए और नए नए कीर्तिमान बनाती जाए, यानी कि जो आज 100 सेमिनार हुए हैं वो कल 1000 में बदल जाएं। और मेरा ऐसा विश्वास है कि ऐसा ये कार्य करने में सफल भी होंगे, क्योंकि लक्ष्य पाने की लगन हो जिनमें उनके कदमों में जमी होती है, आसमां पे उड़ने वालों को कब सितारों की कमी होती है। तो एक बार फिर से बधाई, धन्यवाद।
Hi friends, I am Dr. Shruti Rao Chauhan, Ayurved consultant and prenatal yoga trainer. I want to congratulate PsyCoolG app for completing 100 webinars. They are doing wonderful job. They not only aware and spread awareness about the mental well-being, they also educating and giving platform to newcomers. So it is a very good app Thank you and congratulations.